I'm Abby Benninghoff. I'm a member of the Applied Nutrition Research Group in the College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences. I'm a member of the Department of Animal, Dairy, and Veterinary Sciences. And here I'm filling in for a colleague today who couldn't be with us, Mike Lefebvre, who is the director of our Applied Nutrition Group and the leader of our program to study dietary polyphenols and gut health. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our team this morning, the kind of research that we're doing, and we brought you into the lab so you can see some of the space that we use for our work. So we have a focus in our group of studying diet, gut microbiota, and gut health. Our team consists of about 5 different researchers. Mike Lefebvre, who's in the nutrition department, who is our expert on dietary polyphenols and gut health. Myself, I focus on colon cancer and diet. Corey Hintz, another researcher who looks at dietary bioactives, a variety of different components of the diet and how that influences health. Bob Ward, who is a food scientist who looks at components of dairy products and how that helps with health. And Jeff Broadbent, also a member of the nutrition department who studies probiotics. So I'm here today representing an entire team, and I'm pretty excited about the team-based science that we're doing. We bring expertise from a lot of different complementary areas into the study of diet and gut health. And with that synergy of our research team, we're really excited about a couple projects that are getting going this year. We've recently received 2 separate grants funded by the USDA to study dietary polyphenols and health. The first project I'd like to tell you about is the project that's going on in my research program. It's a basic science study where we use preclinical models or animal models to study effects of a Western type diet on health. And we use mice because we're doing a multi-generation study, meaning we're studying effective diet over 4 different generations, with a key question being, does a Western type diet over multiple generations impact the offspring's risk for colon cancer? The secondary question we're asking is, would addition of a dietary polyphenol such as green tea decrease that risk of colon cancer in those later generations? So that's the project going on in my lab. Science that generates this new information can then lead into clinical studies. And one of the studies that was also funded this year is taking place at our Human Nutrition Clinic, which is at the North Campus. And this is being directed by Mike Lefebvre. It's a study to look at a diet that is rich in polyphenols and its effect on gut microbiota. There is some evidence from other trials, other preclinical studies that have been performed by Mike and others, that a diet rich in polyphenols, these are chemicals present in berries, purple corn, green tea, some in dark chocolate, that a diet rich in these compounds can change the composition of the microbiota. And this is important because different bacteria populations in our gastrointestinal tract can have an influence on our health of our gut, but also our systemic health. And so changing our diet to increase the amount of these dietary polyphenols can shift our gut population and hopefully affect our health for good. This is an area of personalized medicine where each person can find out what bacteria are in their gut and then identify the right foods to shift their population in their gut to improve their health. This would be important for people who have irritable bowel disease, people who have a family history perhaps of colorectal cancer, or people who have problems with inflammation or metabolic syndrome or a dysregulation of how insulin functions in their body. So from this work, it's taking place at the clinic. They're enrolling patients right now, and essentially the patients come in to our clinic, and we have some example diets out in the hallway that you can see here in a moment. They'll consume one of these 2 diets, one rich in polyphenols, one that's not, and then we'll monitor their health. We'll monitor their gut bacteria populations. How do we do that? Well, we measure sequences of DNA from bacteria isolated in the gut to identify what species are there. We can also identify what's their function. What kind of metabolism are they contributing to the body? And that sequencing, that high-end technology takes place in this room, which is why I wanted to bring you to this facility. Utah State hosts a genomics core facility that is state-of-the-art. We have some of the best equipment here on campus for doing ultra-deep sequencing. What that means is lots and lots of DNA codes that we can accumulate so that we can characterize the population of bacteria that are in our gut. We provide the service to researchers here on campus as well as in the region, and it's really a high-end, unique service that we offer here. So the take-home message for our group, we're a multidisciplinary team bringing basic scientists and applied scientists to address key questions of how diet influences health through impacting the gut microbiome. We're very excited about the future of our program. It's growing. We're recruiting other scientists from our local community and from the region to join our applied nutrition group and expand our areas of health that we're covering. For example, we have some colleagues in psychology who are beginning investigations on how the gut influences stress, mental stress, cognition. And we have some other colleagues who are virologists who develop drugs to combat viral disease who are getting on board because they're interested in how the gut influences systemic inflammation. So it's a growing program. This federal support for our program through these 2 grants are accelerating the research here, and we're really excited about it. So I'd be happy to take questions. I left a page for you with contact information. If you want to get in touch with someone this week, I will be the best person to contact, and Mike Lefebvre will hopefully be available next week.
Abby, if you don't mind, let's ask Victor to join you, and that way if there are questions
Absolutely.
for either of you about your programs, guys, feel free to jump in.
I do have some questions, but I just didn't want to interrupt you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So you were talking about how this is personalized medicine. Do you think that's becoming more and more important to society to be able to look at how you will deal with issues that are personal to you?
Absolutely. I think that personalized medicine is the next step for medicine. The more information that we can gather about our own health, such as through these personal trackers, we can incorporate that into a health plan. Talking with our doctor, each person is individual. So one aspect of that is understanding how our gut bacteria influence our individual health, and then identifying dietary strategies to improve our individual health.
In this case, it's dealing with the gut.
Yes. Identifying diets that change your gut bacteria population or support a healthy bacteria population to maximize your individual health.
And so who would be interested in that? You mentioned people who, colon cancer, for example.
I think anybody who has a concern about how their systemic health is maintained would be interested. If you have a family history of intestinal problems, or if you are personally experiencing just digestive disorder, or it's talking about the gut can be a little tricky, digestive disquiet, let's say, having a good understanding of how your diet is influencing your gut, how it's influencing your gut bacteria can help you maintain a healthy gut system.
We've all heard, on commercials about yogurt with probiotics, these kinds of things.
Yeah, some of my colleagues are interested in gut probiotics. Jeff Broadbent has a very active program identifying specific bacteria or specific chemicals that can help promote healthy gut bacteria. We're seeing a lot of commercials about that. I would make sure if someone's seeing that information in the media, that they make sure it's backed up by science. And that's one area that you can find that information out, is contacting your university, contacting your extension agents. One thing I didn't highlight, basic science happens here, clinical science happens here, but we also have a keen interest in making sure this information gets out to the community through our extension agents, and also with the nutrition program through our dietetics students. And we have one student here today, Haley Bryan, who is a member of that program, who will tell you about the experimental diets, and I'm sure she'd be happy to answer any questions about our dietetics program. These students are our front line in communicating this new nutrition information to the public.
What about taste? It has to taste good or I'm not going to eat it.
Do you like dark chocolate? Then you're good. So a lot of the things that are rich in polyphenols are actually very tasty. If you like blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, dark chocolate, green tea, all of these things I personally find very tasty. And you can add them to your diet and help improve your health.
Thank you.
Well, for our program, we have about $1 million in just USDA funding, and a large portion of that will take place in this lab. The high-end sequencing is fairly sophisticated science. Dr. White, can you comment on how, in terms of, so this is a lab that services the whole campus for their genomics needs. Do you happen to know how,
Yeah.
how many dollars traffic through this lab?
It'd be millions. I
In
mean,
millions.
everybody's looking at the genomic level, and we have the genomics lab started it probably about 8 years ago with Affymetrics, and we kind of continued to keep up and with the quality, the types of equipment. And so I think almost every, I won't say every, but a high percentage of the grants that are funded today have some type of a genomics component, identifying some sequence, DNA sequence or RNA sequence information, which is done in this laboratory.
The nice thing about this facility is it's state of the art. We have kept up, just like with computers, a lot of this biomedical equipment becomes outdated very rapidly. And it's just scientific discovery, new knowledge about how to do things better, faster, cheaper. One instrument that's in here is called a Ion Torrent from Life Technologies, and it's our newest addition. And it's, again, pushing that envelope in terms of state of the art. How much data can we collect? How quickly can we do it? And that's what's necessary for this idea of personalized medicine. Sequence a person's entire genome. We could do that here. We can sequence an animal's entire genome, and we can sequence an entire gut microbiome for an individual person. Because of this technology and investment the university has made in making sure that scientists here have access to the best equipment.
So you can do it, but do you do it? Sequence
Yes.
a person's entire genome?
We can. I've done whole genome sequencing for some of my preclinical studies. We're doing whole microbiome sequencing as part of our projects. Mike's project that's the main end point. What is the person's microbiome for their gut? What is the sequence? What are the bacteria that inhabit the gut? And that takes place here in this room. We do that analysis here.
So if Joe Blow farmer out in Lewiston wants his genome sequenced, can he come to you, or does he go through a doctor, or is that not at all what you do?
So we are not currently offering that as a service, although it is an active area of discussion within our team. Can we start offering microbiome sequencing as a service for the public? The person could enroll in one of our studies, and that's one way they can get that information. They could talk through their doctor. There are private companies that are doing this service. I would, with anything, make sure that company is reputable and that you're getting good information. The challenge with personalized medicine, with individuals sending their DNA sample or their feces sample for sequencing, is how does that individual interpret the information they get back? What do they do with that information? Is that knowledge going to improve their health or cause perhaps unnecessary concern? So that's where partnering up with physicians becomes very important. And our group is working on establishing some of those partnerships with gastroenterologists at the University of Utah, again, as the next step in the evolution of our research endeavor.
Of course, Abby, you might speak to the cautionary note of how personal that data is to an individual and how protective you would have to be going.
Absolutely. So in terms of any of the human clinical studies that we perform at Utah State, data privacy, information privacy is of paramount importance. All studies have to be supervised by university boards that maintain that privacy status. And you can be assured that partnering with us for one of these studies, your information would be maintained at the utmost, with the utmost care.